latency is definitely an important metric for us, and we're excited that CMAF has exactly the building blocks for what we need at that layer for our low latency strategy. The trick, like everyone else has alluded to, is that there are so many links in the chain that need to be optimized for this. Any one of them can mess it up for you. But that common limitation, like Peter alluded to, is that we've often had to act upon full GOP structures and then limit the size of our segments based on that. So being able to address a well-defined chunk structure in CMAF allows all of those components up the chain to begin acting on a smaller portion of content and just keep it flowing through her with minimal buffers along the way while still keeping the experience good.
I take a step back and I just think about what low latency is. And I think about, well, what are we trying to solve here? Because a lot of people will just kind of collab it all together and just be like, well, you just got to be as short as possible. But do we? Sometimes you can have a little fuzz and you might want to have, what do you want to beat? Do you want to beat satellite? Do you want to beat cable? Or do you want to beat over the air? Because like you can do all those sorts of things if you understand what your requirements are. You can imagine, to use a metaphor, transactional elements to when you're watching something has to be incredibly low latent, based on the business needs. Other times you don't have to be nearly as low latent. And if you can do that, then you can increase your quality, right? So I think that with it right now, sure, there's the ability to do it with some devices and some implementations, but then as we go wider, we don't get that uniformity that we're looking for from a product side. And that's where we kind of have to struggle a little bit and see where we kind of have that balance. In a lot of ways, when we run our own experiments, we're getting pretty close to and even in join time, we're getting where we want to get to, in terms of latency that matches cable, without doing anything, that's uber hyper low latent. So I think that just taking a step back on it, and then I offer it up to the rest of my panel here that they can dig around into. I really do to press people on the requirements and then what we're trying to do in terms of who we're trying to deliver it to.